Televidente, feliz noche y bienvenido en nos programa Bonochi Korsou. Un placer inmenso para nosotros y a Trove compartiendo con vosotros un programa sumamente interesante. Que luego está un resumen de una actividad que ha tomado lugar recientemente y que nos estaba a conversar con alguna persona tocante de importancia que tiene. Ahora que nuestra comunidad tiene oportunidad, ya sea de forma presencial o a través de lo que nos trabajo por logra, como medio de comunicación y a través de redes sociales, etcétera, etcétera, de por compartir lo que está tomando lugar en nuestra comunidad. Y en el caso aquí, un evento sumamente importante, un evento que tiene que ver con un sistema de transportación aéreo sostenible. Ese ahí está posible dando una cooperación entre diferentes entidades. Y qué más importante que la cooperación entre diferentes aeropuertos que sirve nos región de nos islas ex Antillas o nos islas del vecindario. Y también director de mayoría de aeropuertos autoridad aeronáutico, aerolínea, y todos están envolvidos en el sector de aviación a reunir aquí en Korsou de día 5 para 8 de noviembre para así compartir el International Sustainable Air Transportation Event, que está justamente un espacio para compartir, intercambiar y exponer necesidad, oportunidad, oferta que cada uno de los aeropuertos tiene, que tiene a ver con safety, con seguridad, con eficiencia, con todo lo que está encerrado el desarrollo, evolución de los aeropuertos en función de seguridad y bienestar para el pasajero, que al fin a la está el rey de cada aeropuerto. Que ha deliberado durante todo el día de 5 para 8 de noviembre riba transporte aéreo sostenible, en participación de Korsou, Bonaire, Aruba, San Martín, Saba y San Eustacios, que seguro cada uno de ellos saca máximo provecho de reunión aquí. Año 2022, año pasado, ela toma lugar en Aruba y año aquí en Korsou y la planificación está para 2024, el año venidero, toma lugar en San Martín. Quizás tiende también ya, esa etapa gente de aviación. No lo olvides que el grupo que sirve un aeropuerto, por su director general, gerencia, el board que está manejando un aeropuerto, es un que vende una limonada pasando de piloto, mecánico, gente que está atrás de Bali para atender. Tour es que trabaja en un aeropuerto, tiene un meta común. Servicio es pasajero. El aeropuerto está ser diseñado para pasajeros. Obviamente carga y todo lo que por bien a seca, pero el meta de un aeropuerto está dando un servicio para pasajeros. Y también buscando cooperación, o al fin y a la falta, motivación principal del evento aquí, cooperación entre el aeropuerto, también se llama Dcca. Entonces, está algo que para nosotros está motivo de satisfacción y a través de los Aeropuerto Internashonal de Korsou, de persona de su director también, el señor Andersen, a recibir visitantes aquí y a compartir con ellos una atmósfera más cordial. La ganusuak es palabra de introducción que va a ser pronunciada para el ministro señor Sánchez.
Good morning. Buen día, morro. Protocol has been served. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed partners and stakeholders, good morning. As we navigate the skies towards a future of unparalleled connectivity in the Dutch Caribbean, I stand before you with a resounding call to action. The Dutch Caribbean Corporation of Airport, DCCA, has set the stage for the second International Sustainable Air Transportation event, a flight to the future. And the time has come for our regional airlines to seize the opportunities. The demand for improved connectivity within our island is clear, and is our regional airlines to hold the key to unlocking this potential. We need your innovation, your investment, your commitment to a shared vision of more interconnected Dutch Caribbean, which also extends to the rest of the Caribbean. Imagine the possibilities of multi-destination travel, of ABC island hopping, or SSS island hopping, all made feasible by a robust and efficient air connectivity system. And use the example of how cruise line has mastered the art of the connectivity for the ABC destination. And now it's our turn to soar the new heights. However, to make this vision reality, we must shift our mindset. It is time to move from competition to collaboration. Our true competitors are not within the Dutch Caribbean or in the rest of the Caribbean. They are beyond the borders, in North America, in Latin America, in the Middle East, in the Mediterranean, in Europe, or in the Pacific. To compete efficiently on the global stage, we must align our efforts, pool our resources, and present a united front. Together, we can offer a superior product showcasing the unique strength of our Dutch Caribbean region. Let us break free from the constraint of rivalry and forge a path for cooperation. The Dutch Caribbean island has so much to offer, and by aligning our strategies, we can cater a broader segment of tourism. It's not just about improving air transportation. It's about creating an experience that exceeds borders and captivates the world. The future of Dutch Caribbean air transportation lies in collaboration, innovation, and shared commitment to excellence. Together, let's make a flight to the future, not just an event, but a reality that pushes our region to new horizons. Thank you.
Well, después de palabra di Minister Ruizandro Senche, que ha compartido días atrás también con nosotros y con un grupo grande, junto con Minister Cooper, estaba el Minister Kit Martina, también estaba Tati, como representante del gobierno, pero un grupo de invitados nos ha compartido también llegada del primer vuelo de Corendon, del primer avión de línea aérea Corendon, que había como inicio de operación de línea aquí. Es decir, nos sector de aviación está sumamente contento y tienen aquí con óptima visión. Nos espera que pronto todo lo que tiene a ver con optimalización de nuestro sistema de aviación para poder llegar a nivel con nuestra Dcca, en nivel óptimo, nivel 1, nos lo por cumplir con todos los requisitos de un tiempo prudencial. Well, también Holanda estaba representada en el evento aquí a través de representante del Ministerio de Infraestructura y Manejo de Agua, de persona de señora Brigitte Heisberg. Estaba también participante activo de evento y ella pronuncia también alguna palabra interesante para el asistente.
Please welcome to the stage the representative of the Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management in the Netherlands, Mrs. Brigitte Gijsbers, for her opening remarks.
Excellency, Minister Seintje, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is in 2 weeks' time, elections will take place in the Netherlands, and therefore my Minister, Mark Harbers, couldn't make it to be here, for which he apologized. He asked me to speak to you on behalf of himself. 1 year ago, I spoke in Aruba on the first edition of this event. Back then, we were all very enthusiastic, optimistic, and hopeful to succeed quickly. So was I. We learned during the past year that simply agreeing to work together, as we did in the Memorandum of Understanding, is not enough. What really counts are the actions we take. We found ourselves facing an enormous challenge together. The aviation sector needs a transition towards sustainability, and at the same time, there are other important issues here on the islands that need our attention. Connectivity, like the Minister already said, between the islands is of vital importance for the islands. The Memorandum of Understanding we signed last year was crystal clear. We committed working together to create sustainable, efficient, and affordable connections between the islands. Even though working together with many different stakeholders can be complex, I'm very proud of the progress we've made so far. A lot of good things happened during the past year. And to mention a couple of them, first of all, we now have a draft version of the Joint Strategic Plan, thanks to the hard work of the task force. I believe that this document is a good starting point for realizing sustainable connections. Secondly, we have done a lot of underlying research. Ampere yielded lots of insights on what it takes to test flights on the islands, and they have made a plan for commercial scale-up. Thirdly, our ministry published the innovation strategy. This plan places a significant focus on the new propulsion technologies, including electric aviation. Specifically, electric flights between the islands are one of our main priorities of our innovation policy. But we are not ready yet. We know now that it needs substantial financial investments and cooperation. We must join forces, not just within our organizations, but across the entire aviation ecosystem. Governments, airports, airlines, aircraft manufacturers, and we need to cooperate with the regulators to combine our strength, knowledge, and resources to drive meaningful change. And that means being action-oriented, persistent, and willing to put in more effort when setbacks are encountered. I'm here representing the missionary government, more specific Minister Mark Harbers. At the moment, we can't give a lot of financial support. Our contribution is mostly facilitating, but we can provide the necessary framework, regulations, and support, and want to do this together with all of you. What I'm asking you here today, let's use this event to talk about what we have achieved in the past year, to strengthen our cooperation and show our commitment to make our plans happen. Because in the end, what really matters is making all those plans a reality. As I come to a close, I want to thank the organization of the event for bringing together such a diverse group, and I want to thank each of you for your attention. I wish all of us good discussions and a fruitful event. The road ahead is demanding, but it is also filled with promises. Let's do this together.
Eso ang dapat host di visitante de intere evento estaba a carga responsabilidad como CEO de nuestro aeropuerto, de Korsou Airport Partners y también de nuestro Aeropuerto Internashonal Hato, señor Johnny Anderson. Señor Anderson, persona muy cordial, por cierto, y con sumo placer nos compartí diferente oportunidad de evento aquí con el señor Anderson, que también llama Turende Bombini como anfitrión de evento y también a una presentación, la abre oportunidad para el señor Djaweps, que es CEO del Aeropuerto Internacional Reina Beatriz de Aruba, que además de ser presidente también de Dcca, que es la organización mama de este evento aquí, que sigue después con su participación también. Esa no está va que después de break comercial, pero prometo que nos va a break comercial, la nos compartir el discurso de señor Anderson.
Yes. What a day. I mean, like, we've been working for a year to be here. We took over the reins last year from Joost and the team in Aruba, and now we finally have this conference here in Korsou. Your Excellencies, Honorable Minister Dcca, dear colleagues and partners from the aviation sector in the Dutch Caribbean, dear all, dear friends, good morning and bon siman, and welcome to the second annual conference of the Dutch Caribbean Corporation of Airports, Dcca. I call it the Dcca 2. After a greatly successful first edition of the Dutch Caribbean Corporation, after a greatly successful first edition held by our member, Queen Beatrix Airport of Aruba last year, the bar has been set really high for us. And it's truly an honor for us here at Korsou International Airport, KUR, to be the hosts this year. And just as you can look around, you know, this full house audience that you can see here shows that we have already been reaping the fruits of the previous conference, as the interest, even when we were preparing for this conference, has been overwhelmingly high. You all are industry stakeholders. You all are key players locally, regionally, but some of you also globally. You are all partners, and you will be partners that will contribute to this fantastic program that we will have during these 2 days. But also you will be part in shaping the future of the aviation sector of the Dutch Caribbean. That's what lies ahead of us during these 2 days. And I would like to say thank you so much for making the journey. Some of you came very, very far away, making the journey to Korsou to come here to be with us today. So thank you so much for that. With that being said, I would also like to acknowledge all of those that are joining us online, virtually today. Thank you for joining us online, and we will make it possible for you to ask us questions during the event, as I understand it. But more information will hopefully be given on that one later on. During this year's flight to the future, we will continue the journey that we started last year. And some of the topics that we will discuss is, of course, the latest development within sustainable air transportation. But also more important, and really important, is how do we in the Dutch Caribbean adapt and implement and make use of this new technology for inter-island travel throughout the Dutch Caribbean. And besides this, how can we make inter-island travel more affordable for our passengers? These are key questions that will be discussed during this 2 days. So we will all be exploring all these subjects and more through insightful presentations and panel discussions provided by our stakeholders at this event. A very engaging program has been put together, as I said. and it had been carefully created to ensure we walk away from this conference with more knowledge than when we arrived here. And knowledge about what the future holds on green aviation, how it can be applied to our islands and also to our airports and to the sector in general. So let's make use of this opportunity to further network among our territories, engage with industry peers, and while we share and exchange valuable knowledge between us. I'm wishing you fruitful days here with us, and on behalf of our entire team at CURE, at the Dcca, and everybody who make this possible, I would really like to say welcome once again to our second Flight to the Future conference, Dcca, and I really hope that you will enjoy it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Then it's the privilege, I have the privilege to introduce the CEO of Aruba Airport, also the chairman of the Dcca, Mr. Joost Meest. He will make a presentation on the state of the industry in the Caribbean. Thank you so much. Joost, please.
Serán una bonita presentación sin duda y un buen momento también para nos pasar para un anuncio 10 nangutas nos programa posible y just nos back.
Até, a roupa tá sentir. Ba acostumbrar, lagi crunch abrir, por nada. Lagi luz acender, bem dia. Não laga mal costumbre tá o pior inimigo. Ba lagi crunch abrir to, seré. Ba lagi luz acender to, pague. Assim na ti roupa cosmasco abo por assim, para barra bo gasto de água e corrente. Assim é para o mês, para nós tur e para nós futuro.
Wow, será lá para será?
Sì, non so se era.
Da come tá se não nome de meu doctor?
Ai, Bosquiri, non preoccupare. L'abdo me tablica sabra também.
Já sabe? Tá, que me prego banhando.
Seguro que sim, entre 8 horas e meia e 10 horas e meia. Então não está prego na casa também.
Você anda prego na casa, sabra?
Claro! E o serviço está grátis.
Ai, você tá pensando neste meu lugar aqui, você. Ei, você se bom pôr chega lá do met.
Lá do meta chega cerca bom. Piu!
Inspirada en filosofía de prevención, salud y eficiencia y con un team dinámico, nace Sabi Insurance, inter una organización, un servicio para donar a vos, familia y propiedad un seguro que te pasa con necesidad y con presupuesto en tiempo récord y sin obstáculo, para vos vivir tranquilo y bon segurado. Vamos a ser de un seguro responsable y accesible para Unitur. Toma contacto con Sabi Insurance. Así es mesora, pero así es Sabi sí.
Boniteza. Mundo ta bonita. Wakrondipo y mira cosnan bonita. Of, así es cosnan aún más bonita. Abo ta bonita, así na bonita. Optic Ana, WAC e diferencia.
No se hizo nada en nombre de Lab de Med, laboratorio de médicos, donando siempre oportunidad a cada uno de su cliente, de su usuario, de su paciente, de haya un servicio no solamente seguro a través de compromiso, unos 5 de palabra confiabilidad, pero con flexibilidad también, no está donando servicio te den bocas. está recomendado ampliamente el servicio de LabDemet para tu confort para tu oportunidad de un servicio eficiente pero con fiabilidad en cada uno de sus resultados. LabDemet, laboratorio de médicos. Na nombre de Bombini Supermarket, esta duci para compras de un Bombini, un ambiente great, un ambiente de casa, un ambiente de familia, producto fresco y una variedad inmenso. Nos está invitado para hacer uso no solamente de oportunidad de hacer compras y productos de buena calidad, de buen precio, pero también de hacer uso de oportunidad para buscar el servicio que bota desea, el servicio que cada uno de los clientes nota importante, con grande tamaño de compra, está importante da el servicio que bota un servicio de familia para sobra. Bombinita Bocas. Y na nombre también de Sambil que ya ha preparado tour e calendario para luna de noviembre que está vayendo más allá. Me te quiere que el luna aquí que baile para diciembre llega, aunque ya no está en pleno ambiente de alegría, de Pascua, para así compartir con la mayoría de gente comienza a poner su adorno, su casa, pone su boom, etc. Y nos acorda siempre sí que realidad de festividad de diciembre, de Pascua, del nacimiento de Jesús. Y además de ser ya es celebración de llegada de Año Nuevo y por lo tanto Sambil está preparado bon para recibir en la temporada aquí con programación tremendísimo. Aquí pocos días nos también con Fabi para contarnos con preparación para diciembre. Mientras tanto nos ha invitado para hacer uso de programación con los team de marketing a preparar para el día de noviembre. Camina de un lleno de cosas interesantes y no lo olvidar, tu razón nos grande nanta bombinida en Sambil para el día de gente grande. Sambil, más que un centro comercial. En el nombre también de óptica Ana, shonan bobo nanta vital. Bobo nan meseta de buena condición para bo traja, para bo siña, para bo conducir auto, para turcos que men da un tesoro curioso de una nos y que nos cuida. También nos ha recomendado un chequeo, un check-up de vez en cuando. Y óptica Ana tiene personal y equipo ultra moderno para así de una bobo el service con un mester cada cierto tiempo. Si vos te requerís de brill, nos tiene variedad de más grande para tu gusto, para tu color, para tu edad y además de ese nos está recomendado también medir presión, hace un chequeo, nos personal profesional está dando atención, pero si acaso es presencia de doctor está necesario, nos está guiando una buena meseta para así el tratamiento si acaso la situación está requerir de intervención de doctor. Siempre nos amigos de óptica Ana avisa que normalmente mayoría de problemas casi siempre te queda solucionado en óptica, pero te viaja doctor mester intervenir y te nos te para guiado para llega camina por meserta óptica Ana nos ponemos vida mira es vida más bonita. Pues ahora nos continúa con más de nos evento que nos compartir, nos se llama Danke na Faina Set para inter su crew para invitarnos y darnos oportunidad de compartir un evento así de importante para Korsou, no solamente para el network que crece de tu gente para compartir con los sector de aviación, pero también para nos por hacer uso de oportunidad de tanto cosas interesantes. Den la clausura de rueda de prensa que ha tomado lugar ya en la final de evento, la tinte hace una demostración con drone que ha venido por el hospital de Jet Center de Aeropuerto Hato para 13 así un cargamento, un saco con sangre que está ser usado en situaciones de emergencia, de calamidad, de hundimiento o simplemente para transportación para otro lugar. Esta parte de intercambio de tecnología que nos ha presenciado en el evento aquí. Acá nos continúa con presentación del señor Djaweps, está CEO de Aeropuerto Internashonal Reina Beatriz de Aruba, pero además de ser está presidente de Dcca kuta e organismo organizador di tremendo conferenza aqui.
Good morning, everyone. The protocol already been established. On behalf of the Dutch Caribbean Corporation of Airports, once again, I would like to welcome you to the DCCA's event, Flight to the Future, addressing the latest and the greatest trends and topics in the sustainable air transportation. And in my State of the Union, how it was announced, I could have shown you all kinds of statistics and success stories of and in this region. And believe me, we have had many success stories here in this region. But I will not do that. Instead, I will, with pleasure, address some words to you about the DCCA and the commitment of many aviation stakeholders to work on the structural improvement of the inter-island connectivity. Here in the Dutch Caribbean, for the local communities. That's where it's all about. We want to make it more affordable, more efficient, and more sustainable over time. But before we get to this subject, I would like to thank Curaçao, the government, regulator, and airport for hosting this DCCA event here in Curaçao this year, and I'm convinced that after the event we can conclude that Johnny, Peggy and the teams have put up a real show. Thank you. And on a side note, next year it will be in St. Maarten, and Brian, I wonder what you can still do next year in St. Maarten to outperform the events in Aruba and Curaçao. So all the best next year. The DCA was established in 2021 as a collaboration platform among 6 commercial airports of the Dutch Caribbean, Ceba, Statia, St. Maarten, Bonaire, Curaçao and Aruba, all represented by the CEOs, and they are all here at the event. And the primary aim is to enhance the quality of each airport through mutual assistance, information exchange and knowledge transfer. And we share the ambition of optimizing the connectivity between our islands, because in the end we are for that on Earth, right? And sometimes I get the question, especially the last months, of why we put so much effort into an improvement of the inter-island connectivity. I hear it's only a small market for very small communities. I hear also for the islands, the source markets for tourists in the US, Europe and Latin America are economically and strategically much more important. And this is all true, of course. However, the answer to this question, why to focus on this relatively small niche, is still easy to give. The Dutch Caribbean has been very successful in getting millions of tourists from the US, Latin America or Europe each year. They all spend their well-deserved vacation on one of our islands. And this is boosting our economies. And it deserves a big compliment for all the stakeholders involved in the last two decades. And also in our COVID recovery figures, the Caribbean is once more very successful and has outperformed many other regions in the world. This is all true, but isn't it about time then to start focusing also on our own communities and on our own residents and on our local players here? The communities on all the islands overlap significantly. Every resident has a family member or friend on one of the other sister islands. And every now and then they feel the need to fly to that family member for a wedding, a birthday party or funeral. They want to visit an old friend which they still know from their school times. They need to fly to another island for medical reasons or for sport tournaments. Or they have accepted a job on another island but do not feel like moving the whole family and household, so they need to commute every day. And I'm sure that especially the residents of the Dutch Caribbean islands in this room have experienced room for improvement while traveling to one of the sister islands. The sister islands are very close, but at the same time so hard to reach. And what does it make so hard to reach? First, I think traveling to one of the sister islands is costly. And for a significant proportion, not for you and me, but for a significant proportion of the communities on the islands, not even affordable, and they cannot even consider to fly to a family member on another island. A round trip from Aruba to Curaçao for this event cost me $326. My trip from Aruba to Saba via Curaçao and St. Maarten earlier this year, together with Joanne, the program manager, cost me more than $1,200 and a full day traveling. And on a side note, but very importantly, and for the airline representatives in this room, relax and don't take this personal, because I, as airport CEO, am the first to admit that the airports and other stakeholders are equally or even more responsible for these high prices. A second element for improvement is efficiency. The islands are close to each other, but the experience of the journey does not feel efficient at all. A flight between Aruba and Korsou or between Sint Maarten and Saba takes respectively 25 and 15 minutes in the air. But you need to be at the airport 60 to 75 minutes prior to your flight to be able to pass all the airport process steps, including the national entry and exit formalities for a 20-25 minute flight. We should work on an improvement to make airport process times for these short flights better in proportion to the actual flight times. And thirdly and lastly, for logical reasons, currently the flights between the islands are carried out with traditional aircraft using fossil fuel with a significant carbon footprint because there's no other option at this moment. But seeing the availability of new digital technologies and many innovations to make the aviation more sustainable, you feel there's room for improvement in all three elements. And taking this all into account, last year in November, in Aruba, we have launched a shared ambition between island governments, the Netherlands, aviation authorities, and airports committing to improve the inter-island connectivity here in the Dutch Caribbean. These parties assigned last January a task force with representatives again from all the islands and the Netherlands. And this task force, at first under the leadership of Marieke Smit, also here present, and later under the leadership of Joanne Christiaans, of course, also here present, has done an amazing job working on a plan in the last month, how to translate the ambition in an executable plan. And you will hear more about that, about the status of the plan and about the content of the plan, of course, later today by Joanne Christiaans. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not a secret that aviation is a stakeholder's business. If you want to achieve great things, you must collaborate. Improving air connectivity means a responsibility for all stakeholders in the ecosystem of aviation. Every island in the Dutch Caribbean is a very strong brand by itself. But it is also a very small piece of rock in a very big ocean and in a big, competitive, fast-turning world. And Dcca is promoting collaboration between airports, but also between the other stakeholders on the 6 islands and with the Netherlands. Only working together, we are more powerful to battle the competition and jump on new trends and innovations, such as sustainability. That is the new chapter in aviation. Aviation is a polluting industry. And consumers all over the world have become more critical of and are reluctant towards using products and services with a huge negative impact on the environment. This trend, in the future, not tomorrow, more into the future, will be a huge threat for the aviation and travel industry and must be addressed by us. By the short distances and overload of sunshine and wind, we firmly believe that the Dutch Caribbean has the potential to lead the way, not to be a follower, but to lead the way in electric aviation. And to become a worldwide frontrunner in electric aviation. And this new chapter can create, over time, new business and employment for all the islands. And ultimately, lower the ticket prices further due to less fuel costs and less maintenance costs. Of course, that's a new chapter. It will not happen tomorrow, but let's work on that. Ladies and gentlemen, on this second edition of our event, A Flight to the Future, I want to ask for your support in bringing the communities of the Dutch Caribbean islands closer to each other again, in a sustainable way. By improving air connectivity on the elements of affordability, efficiency and sustainability, we will be making it accessible for a bigger portion of our communities. And we enhance not only our economies, but more importantly, I think, our social structures and livelihood on the islands. And investments needed to do so will be easily paid back by a higher volume of traffic as a result. For the local communities, this ambition is too good to fail, but we need your support. I'm wishing you lots of information, inspiration, thanking again our host airport, and hope to speak to you all personally during the upcoming 2 days. Thank you very much.
Well, y nosotros tomamos nota de en el último programa en que nos asistí, y mayoría de nan, metigo visa al César, lo que está diciendo César, aeropuerto ha demostrado un dinamismo más grande y un posicionamiento de liderazgo de tipo de entidad aquí en nuestra región. Y eso está sumamente importante para Korsou. Pero no se reparará que gente mujer está ocupando posiciones clave en el sector de aviación. Na Korsou también, no sin gente mujer en posiciones importantísimo. En el caso aquí, señora Joan Christian, esta Program Manager de Dcca, ha dado una explicación de interprogramación que no está llevando adelante. Y el escenario estaba en conferencia que ha tomado lugar aquí en Korsou.
As we continue, I would like to invite on the stage with me the program manager of the DCCA, Ms. Joanne Christians, and she will later on be joined by Mr. Joost Meijs for the joint strategic plan titled Embracing the Future of Alternative Aviation. Please welcome to the stage Ms. Joanne Christians.
It is with a grateful heart that I stand before you this morning on behalf of the task force. We are excited to share that the preliminary draft of the Joint Strategic Plan has been finished and shared with our stakeholders. Our stakeholders are now taking their due time to evaluate and review our preliminary draft, and once we complete this process, we will be publishing and making it a public document for all of you to read. Without further ado, let's start with the Joint Strategic Plan. Yes. So like Joost mentioned in his speech a few minutes ago, as the Dutch Caribbean islands, we share challenges in common. Traveling between our islands is very expensive. We have been experiencing this in the past months since we were traveling and consulting with several stakeholders on the islands. The air connections are not consistent, and we experienced it yesterday. We had a few minutes delay, and then we arrived a bit later for our welcome reception, but we are very happy to be here. But not being consistent, not having a travel schedule that you can rely on can sometimes be a hurdle. Transition to sustainable flight is a shared ambition of all the signatories. Yes, so we would like from the task force to request for collaboration, the support for our plan. We have been working in the background for the past months very hard. We are excited about this project. We are passionate about this project. It's a very beautiful project for the region, for the residents, and we cannot be more honored to be standing here today and also with my fellow task force members. It's been an honor working on this project these past months. So we are striving for a more neutral execution transition platform to take our joint strategic plan further, mediating and negotiating with all the stakeholders involved, and also to continue with the consultation rounds with all involved to make this plan a reality. We also want to establish an innovative, affordable, reliable, and environmental friendly air travel between the Dutch Caribbean islands. So let's change the paradigm. Let's make the inter-island connectivity efficient, affordable, and sustainable. It will benefit us all, and we can be pioneers in this aspect. So last year, like Joost also mentioned, we signed an MOU during the Fly to the Future event in Aruba. This MOU is based on the fundamentals of the importance of affordable, efficient, and sustainable air travel, integration of the SDGs goals and ICAO objectives in the Dutch Caribbean region, the need for improved air connectivity between the islands, the shared vision of cooperation and collaboration with a focus on zero emission, and a task force in progress committee tasked with the preparation of the GSP. So, with all that being shared with you, a strong aviation system benefits all of us. It is thinking in possibilities and opportunities. It is about accepting the common values and sharing those values. It is collaborating for cost efficiencies, serving the residents, learn smarter together, think big, think that we as a region can be the pioneers in making and improving our air connectivity and searching for significant funding moving forward. This is our roadmap. I'm not going to go through all the details, but you see here, we started already last year. Here we show you what we've been doing in 2023 and how we slowly transition to reach that end goal in the future.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning to the first panel of the Flight to the Future 2023. It's very surreal because it feels like we were in Aruba last year, and Joanne was manning this round table. So again, thank you so much. We've talked a little bit already and setting tone on how the year has been, and thank you for a very informative State of the Union, Joost. Before we proceed, I'd like to just have each one of you just briefly talk about yourself and mention something you like to do for fun. Because I know our days and our challenges are much, and please don't tell me it's watching aircrafts land and take off. So, you know. So let's start off with Brian.
Hi.
Hi.
Be honest, eh? Be honest. I'm honest. Brian Mingo, CEO of Aeropuerto St. Martin. I'm also, I used to be a musician, so I like to play a little guitar here and there, but nice. I do it at home because, you know, the airport takes a lot of my time.
Yes.
So, but my situation is also a little different. We're rebuilding an airport which got damaged in 2017. So, you know, that keeps me busy
right.
In the meantime.
Okay, but thank you. So, want to be a musician? No, a very accomplished musician, I presume, in your family.
Just for fun.
And gathering.
Just
good. Thank you, Megan.
Yes. Baking. Yeah. Flour. I'm in the baking business, so.
Oh, nice.
I love making Johnny cakes, baking cakes, sweet stuff.
Did you bring
Dangerous.
Oh, that is nice. We love Johnny cakes too. So.
Yeah. So I take joy into flour. Get my hands dirty in the flour.
Super. Thank you, Maarten.
Nice to meet you, Bon Simon. Maarten van der Scheer, Director of Flamingo Airport. I like to go every Sunday morning to Sorbonne on Bonaire, and it's a beautiful place, and you can windsurf there, and my two oldest kids are having lessons there, and super. I really enjoy it. It's a beautiful place. Go see it.
Nice, thank you. Joost.
Well, I'm the CEO of Aruba Airport, and in my free time I'm a very enthusiastic mountain biker. I have chicken, so I get the eggs every morning and serve my wife and my kid, of course, a nice breakfast with the eggs. I do some gardening also. Okay. So yeah, I have many things to do when I'm not at the airport.
Super, great, thank you. And last but certainly not least, Johnny.
Yeah, okay. I'm Johnny Anderson. I'm the CEO of Korsou Airport and the host together with Peggy, and it's this wonderful event. I would actually kind of combine it. I really love foods, but that somehow
who doesn't? Well,
that somehow ends up with having some effect on my weight. So I need to kind of exercise a little bit. So right now I'm in that kind of mix of eating too much, not exercising enough, and so on. So I'm kind of struggling a little bit there, but that's what I do now these days.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
The gym,
yeah.
Know, I feel really bad all the time, because I don't gym enough. So looking forward to the event tonight. Hope there's some good food there.
Super, thank you so much. So hopefully that kind of like lightens up the mood, because of course the issues we're talking about are very, I wouldn't say heavy, but they are difficult and they are a little complicated. And we do have the cooperation, and I appreciate being together with the task force, being in close contact and close to the fire, if you may say so, throughout this year especially. But the future, we've talked a little bit about what has happened in the past year, but setting the stage for the time to come, and of course you'd like to have it in the short term and in the mid-range period. How do you look at the opportunities for you as an airport? Because we've heard about it more of a collective scenario, but I'm sure there's some issues that are quite different for an Aruba airport compared to St. Martin or to Megan in Seba. So Martin, would you care to start us off in that aspect?
Of course, yeah. We talk a lot about the challenges, but I like to take a moment to appreciate all the stakeholders in the ecosystem, and especially the airlines, because they are doing a tremendous job connecting the islands. And if we talk about the higher prices or the lack of availability, the airlines are doing what they can. And together we have the challenge to improve that ecosystem and to lower the cost, or to make it more sustainable, or make it more efficient. So that's something to recognize. The local players are doing a great job. That's for starters. So thank you out there. Yeah, I agree. And secondly, we did a lot of work last year. Since we signed the MOU and we had that shared ambition, it was time to draft the plan. We just saw it, we heard about it. Now it's time to put it into action. That's really important. And I recognize what Joost said in his opening speech. We have to look at our own role as airports. What can we do in the short term, for example, to lower and harmonize the tariffs? That's something we would really like to work on actively, to implement in a few years, I hope, or even sooner. So we have a lot of work to do.
Thank you. Johnny, would you care to add some comments?
I would like to first of all agree to what Martin is saying.
But I also think that, yes, we are seeing tremendous work from the local airlines and our partners that are flying into our airport, but also to the Dutch Caribbean. And in many ways, I see that we have kind of burst through the ceiling somehow. There are some trend shifts in the sector right now, where we see that the Dutch Caribbean is becoming more and more on the radar, both for the markets, but also for, what can I say, the airlines, of course, looking into actually flying to our islands for different reasons. Of course, we are leisure destinations and so on, but what I'm concluding with that is that us being able to attract the additional traffic that we are seeing, because we are having a stellar year this year, and many of us around this table are also having a stellar year, and we are looking at 2024 to be probably the strongest year ever, at least for Korsou, when it comes to passenger numbers, routes, number of frequencies, and so on and so on. It is important to develop that inter-island connectivity that most have been spoken about today, because that will benefit us all. Both what the minister was saying previously in his opening speech, what Joost was saying in his opening speech, I think it's kind of a key element for us to kind of surpass even our own expectations, if we are able, together with the local airlines, to be able to establish a well-functioning, effective, reasonably priced network of connectivity between the Dutch Caribbean islands. That's kind of the opportunity that I would like to mention that I see, because we have broken trends now. And I don't know where is that new level. I think it's much, much higher up there than what we have been looking at until now.
Yeah.
And that's why I think this cooperation that we have can really benefit us all, and the communities, of course.
Yeah. Thank you, Johnny.
Pues una forma aquí, me quiere con nosotros un resumen sumamente interesante. Nos estamos ya contentos y agradecidos de la invitación que nos han de parte de Aeropuerto de CAP, Korsou Airport Partners, para así para compartir y adquirir un conocimiento de todo lo que está tomando lugar en nuestra región en materia de aviación, y con los aeropuertos por combinar, compartir, apoyar otro para así el servicio está más eficiente. Un placer, consigna con una acera, con un sistema de aviación fuerte para beneficiar Unitur y seguro cada uno de nosotros hace uso de un aeropuerto. Un placer, danke por sintonía, y tenemos próximo programa para nos topa y visa otro. Bonochi, Korsou.